Lighten the day. Heaven is the destination. Jesus is the
All right, let's talk about Matthew chapter 6, a chapter that's loaded with wisdom for everyday life. If you've ever wondered what Jesus actually wants from his followers, this is the place to start. First up, giving to the needy. Jesus is super clear. Don't do good just to get noticed. If I give to someone just so I look generous, I'm missing the point. God sees what's done in secret, and that's what matters to him. Sincerity over show every time. Next, prayer. Jesus says, don't turn prayer into a performance. It's not about fancy words or being seen by others. He gives us the Lord's Prayer as a model. Simple, honest, direct. If I want God's forgiveness, I need to forgive others too. It's about real connection with God, not impressing people. Then, fasting. Again, Jesus warns against making a spectacle. Fasting is between me and God, not something to brag about. The reward isn't in the applause, but in the quiet moments with God. Now, treasures in heaven. Jesus tells us not to store up treasures on earth, because they fade, break, or get stolen. Instead, I'm called to invest in things that last, things of God's kingdom. He says, where my treasure is, my heart will be too. And I can't serve both God and money. I have to choose what matters most. Finally, Jesus talks about worry. He says, don't stress about food, drink, or clothes. God takes care of the birds. God takes care of the flowers. I'm worth even more to him. If I seek God's kingdom first, he promises to provide what I need. Anxiety doesn't add a single hour to my life, but faith in God changes everything. So, what's the big takeaway from Matthew 6? Righteousness isn't about putting on a show. It's about real devotion to God. Whether it's giving, praying, or fasting, it's all about my relationship with him, not what others think. True security isn't in what I own, but in God's kingdom. And when I put him first, I can let go of worry and trust him to provide. Here's how I try to live this out. I practice my faith privately and sincerely. I check what I treasure most. Is it pointing me to heaven or just to stuff on earth? And when worry creeps in, I remind myself to trust God and live for his kingdom first. If you want a more detailed look at each passage in Matthew 6, stick around and check out the rest of the video. Thanks for watching.
Why do so many people feel the need to show off their good deeds? Here's what Jesus had to say about it. In Matthew 6:14, Jesus warns us to check our motives when doing good. He says, don't do good just to get a pat on the back from others. If you do, that's your only reward. Instead, give sincerely. No need for a big show or sounding trumpets like the hypocrites did. Jesus even says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. That means give so humbly that you're not even thinking about it. God sees what's done in secret and will reward you in his perfect way. So next time you do a good deed, ask yourself, am I looking for praise from people or from God? Trust that he sees your heart and your actions. Keep it real, keep it humble, and keep it between you and God. Want to make your prayers more meaningful? Let's explore Jesus' teaching in Matthew 6:5-15. In Matthew 6, Jesus lays down the prayer playbook. First up, verses 5-6. Don't pray to impress others. Jesus calls out those who make a show of their prayers for attention. Real prayer is personal, sincere, and between you and God. Next, verses 7-8. Jesus says, don't use empty words. Repetitive, formulaic prayers don't earn divine favor because God already knows what you need. So keep it heartfelt and genuine. Then we have the famous Lord's Prayer in verses 9-13. It's not a script but a model. Our Father in heaven reminds us God is both personal and powerful. Hallowed be your name, honor his holiness. Your kingdom come, your will be done, submit to his rule. Give us this day our daily bread, depend on God daily. Forgive us our debts, seek and give forgiveness. Lead us not into temptation, ask for guidance and protection. Finally, verses 14-15. Forgiveness is key. Jesus teaches that if you forgive others, God will forgive you. Holding grudges blocks your relationship with God, so remember, pray humbly, sincerely, and personally. Avoid showmanship and empty words. Use the Lord's Prayer as a guide and always, always forgive. That's how you pray like Jesus taught. If your fasting looks like a performance, you're missing the point. Here's why Matthew 6:16-18 matters. In Matthew 6:16-18, Jesus calls out those who fast for applause. Back then, some people would deliberately look miserable. Unkempt hair, unwashed faces, hoping for admiration. Jesus says, nope, that's hypocrisy. Fasting for attention, it loses its spiritual value, the only reward, human praise. Instead, Jesus tells us to anoint your head and wash your face. Translation, take care of yourself so no one knows you're fasting. Keep it between you and God. Make your sacrifice genuine. Why? Because God sees the hidden things. He's not impressed by appearances. He looks at our hearts. Fasting in secret shows your hunger is truly for Him, not recognition. So remember, fast with a heart set on God. True spiritual acts done privately and sincerely are deeply rewarded by Him. Authenticity over appearance, always.
Am I the only one that didn't realize Matthew 6:19-24 is actually about our hidden loyalties? Turns out Jesus wasn't just talking about money, He was talking about our hearts. Let's unpack how this changes everything. First, Jesus warns us, don't store up treasures on earth. Think about it, money, stuff, even status. They can vanish in a blink. But when you invest in kindness, generosity, and faithfulness, you're building treasure in heaven. Where your treasure goes, your heart follows. So if all your energy is chasing after more, is your heart really with God? Next, Jesus uses this wild metaphor. Your eye is like a lamp for your body. If your eye is healthy, meaning if your perspective is focused on God and generosity, your whole life lights up. But if your vision's clouded by greed or envy, it's like living in the dark. Finally, Jesus draws a line in the sand. You can't serve both God and money. One will always win your loyalty. Living for wealth means God takes a back seat. But when God is your master, everything else finds its right place. So, take a second. What's really ruling your life? Where are you storing your treasure? Why do over 90% of us stress about things we can't control? Is there a better way to live? Let's hear what Jesus says in Matthew 6:25-34. Jesus tells us, don't worry about your life, what you'll eat, drink, or wear. Life is so much bigger than just getting by. God didn't create you just to survive. He created you to live with purpose under His loving care. Look at the birds. They don't store food, but God feeds them every single day. And the lilies? They don't work or worry, yet God clothes them in beauty. If God cares for birds and flowers, how much more does He care for you? Worry doesn't add a single hour to your life. In fact, it steals your joy. You don't have to chase after security like the world does. Your Heavenly Father already knows exactly what you need, so what should you do? Jesus says, seek first God's kingdom and His ways, and all these things will be given to you. Focus on loving God and let Him handle the rest. Don't borrow tomorrow's trouble. God gives grace for each day, one day at a time. So today, let go of worry, trust God's heart, and rest in the truth that you are deeply valued and never alone.
Where every broken heart finally heals.